Over the past 75 years, more than 10,000 chemicals have entered our food supply, but the EU allows just 300 additives. At Thrive Market, we prioritize quality, banning over 1,000 ingredients found in conventional grocery stores. Our Healthy Swap scanner helps you find better versions of your pantry essentials without the junk, dyes, or fillers, and everything is delivered right to your doorstep. So shop at a grocery store that actually cares about your health at thrivemarket.com/get-started for 30% off your first order and a free $60 gift.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
2025.
Welcome to 2025.
Champagne and fireworks and things.
And all that kind of stuff. And finally, we can relax because everything's just going to be fine.
It's going to be a great year.
It's going to
Nothing
be a great
can go
year.
wrong.
Nothing
year.
can possibly, nothing on the horizon.
No.
In say, 20 days' time, nothing. Yeah. Nothing to worry about. All is fine. Nothing to see here.
So,
yeah.
So if you want to not think about all of that stuff, that definitely it's not going to happen this year.
Listen to this
for a couple of hours. Here's something to listen to. This is part 2. If you missed part 1 that was put out on Christmas Day on the feed, then go back and listen to that.
Definitely go back and listen
You're
to
not going to understand anything that is happening in this film.
I'm not sure that
to part 1.
That's a bit of a bold claim. Look, that they will understand things.
I didn't say that. I didn't make the claim that they would understand if they had listened. What I said was they definitely wouldn't understand if they hadn't listened.
Fine.
I'm not going to make any suggestion that they will, having listened or not, understand what's happening in this film.
We make no claim for that. No, don't hold us accountable for that.
Not something we can suggest.
No. We wouldn't support understanding of this film anyway. No. So here we are with part 2 of Me You Madness.
Yep.
When everything gets explained and solved in a I'm confusing this with an actual film. Stuff happens, certainly.
Well, more conversations are had.
Occur.
There's some more voiceover.
There is a lot of that.
She changes her clothes a lot more.
True.
I mean, not more than the first half, but just more. There is more of that.
Yeah. So there's a few more scenes in the postmodern house.
Sure.
Yeah. Some cars. Some inexplicable car shots.
Yeah. More music, more needle drops.
Confusing timelines and no coherence at all to speak of.
Yeah, but she hasn't learned from doing the first half of the film.
No.
She hasn't got better at this.
No. So if that's put you off watching the first half, don't let it, because don't go into the second half unprepared.
Her learning what she's doing is not what we're here for.
No. Well, actually, you say that because in the time that's elapsed, she's not made another film.
That's fair.
So perhaps she's learned.
She hasn't distributed another film.
Right.
We can't say for certain that she hasn't made one. But if she has, the fact that she's learned not to show it to people is definitely progress.
Might be a learning. Yeah. And if she has, boy, do we want to get hold of that and watch it. Yeah. So yes, enjoy this and have a happy January 1st.
Absolutely. Or whichever day you're listening to this.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm going to disembowel this kid and eat his spleen. Oh, shut it, PC, please. Me? You? Madness. It's a pile of frozen, dead, bad people. I may or may not have an undiagnosed personality disorder. That's really cliche, isn't it?
Hello and welcome back to more of this shit about
welcome
Me
back.
You Madness.
Yes.
We had to finish it because we started it, and that's just how it goes. You got to follow through on these things. You can't just leave it half done.
We had to finish it. We had to finish last time because we just got to the point where after a while you just have to stop and go, no, I need to reevaluate my life choices.
We had to go away and think about what we'd done.
Yeah, quite. You think, oh my God, and actually, kind of, I successfully put it out of my mind for almost a fortnight, and then you think, oh no, got to watch that again. Oh my God. And so I haven't. I've just kind of read through the notes and gone, oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
I've just picked up my notes again.
It's all come
I've already watched
flooding
it twice,
back, and
again.
horrible. No, don't do it. So anyway, where are we? We're like about 40 minutes in. Oh yeah, we just got to the point where we decided that I decided that it was enough. 40 minutes was enough to kind of be a fairly good film with some major rewrites that we come up with, and some massive plot holes left out, and actors changed, all that kind of all that stuff, format change, location change. Would have been a fabulous film, but no, it continues. For another.
Basically, what you're saying is with a different director, writer, star,
actors,
setting, story.
Yeah,
this could have been a completely different.
Could have been a completely
better,
much better film. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So we've got we've got
Theseus's ship of bad films.
Yeah. So we've got about another hour of film left, but I suspect.
But fortunately, a lot less happens.
Yes, exactly.
In the second half.
Yes, but also unfortunately, a lot less happens because it's you think, why am I spending my time? Yeah, because I just it was at that point I thought, well, that's enough now. I've had it. Is it going to go on? Oh God, it is. Yeah, hope it gets better.
Yeah. I mean, partly a lot less happens because of all of the stuff that she just said in the first half, rather than showing, or making plot points.
Yeah,
and the stuff that she just told us was happening in voiceover. Means that we don't need to now explore any of that stuff because the audience knows it. So it's not an important part of the plot. So where we left it was they'd had party, they'd had sex and woken up, and she left for the gym. Tyler put on a robe and dances around to I'm So Excited, Pointer Sisters.
Isn't it the entirety of I'm So Excited?
Yeah, the whole thing. We do get a bit of intercutting with her heading off to the gym, but it's a lot of the whole. It goes on. I feel like they're kind of trying to do a risky business kind of thing, but it doesn't have any of the charm or originality.
It's got the same shape,
of that. And it's not the same kind of feeling of the of that point in risky business either. The whole point of that scene and of many scenes that reference it, like Mrs. Doubtfire and things like that, and even the Home Alone films, where it's about freedom. It's about kind of this suddenly being by yourself, suddenly being unconstrained by the situation you were previously in. This is he's just in this rich person's house who maybe he's starting to fall for. I think we got to that point, and but it's not.
So
is that the visuals and the soundtrack, the I'm So Excited, it doesn't really kind of mean anything in this context.
No. But she does think he's smart and charming and witty. I based on what? Because he's been asleep more than he's been awake, so I don't know how she knows that. But maybe that's causing him to feel that he's falling for her, she's falling for him.
But it's it's unearned, as so much in this is. And then so we get her leaving and arriving at the gym in her cherry red 68 Mustang, or was it apple cherry? I don't know, cherry toffee apple red or something like that. But the one, she's continually making film references by just saying the names of films to camera. This, I think, is she doesn't even know necessarily this would be a film reference, but the license plate on the Mustang is one that has appeared in many other entities, TV and film and things like that, because there's a few license plates, especially in California, that you're not allowed to have as on real cars because they are reserved for film vehicles. In the same way as 555 as a kind of phone code. Area code is not a real one; it's just a Hollywood one. And this license plate 2QRK45 is one of those. It's a license plate that is purely used for movie cars and TV cars.
Right.
And this one has been used in Lost. It was Hurley's Ford Pinto in Lost. That's about the most high profile thing it's been in there. It's been in films like My Own Worst Enemy, American Vandal, Our Family Wedding, things like that. Nothing big.
Right.
But but it is kind of a reference to the film industry and other films that I expect she probably didn't even know she was making. So.
Given that she thinks she's clever enough to kind of make all those meta filmic references, it was something, which that's quite good that we kind of, you can kind of go, well, actually she's playing the game, and not playing it in a terribly educated way. She's not even able to do the tongue-in-cheek stuff.
No, it's like, it is that she, in the Patreon kind of description of these things and Wonder Woman, I've called them kind of part snarky nitpicking, part scholarly film commentary and stuff like that. And ultimately, there was talking about the American New Wave, and the French New Wave was kind of prior to the American New Wave, but both of those essentially were coming up where it was the first generation of filmmakers who had grown up watching film. They were people who had learned their craft through seeing the greats before them and what they did. And in France, it was people like Jean-Luc Godard and François Truffaut who had watched Hitchcock, and they'd watched other great filmmakers and learned things that they could apply to their own films, and they put twists on them and they made them their own. And in the US, Spielberg arguably was part of the kind of early American New Wave, Scorsese and people like that. Tarantino was kind of someone who took it to the extremes.
Yes, exactly.
What Louise Linton is doing is she's seen some films. And so she thinks now, because she's seen some films, she knows how to make a film. And she's vaguely aware of some of the things that films do.
Exactly, and that's as near as she comes to the Nouvelle Vague, the new wave, is because she's vaguely aware of them, and she doesn't. She
hasn't done any of the studying of she isn't immersed in the film industry or
in watching, and you can see
the literature of film.
In watching Tarantino, she would just go, "Oh yeah, right." So what he's doing is referencing some other movies, and that's what makes him a great movie maker. So what I'll do is reference some other movies, and thereby become a great movie maker.
And we'll get a concrete version of that a bit later that we'll come back to.
Exactly.
But she has seen things happen in films, has not paid sufficient attention to them, and thought, okay, that's a thing that happens in films. So I'll do that, and that will make my thing a film.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's a bit like it's, and that's why, our kind of tenuous link to the world of Trump. That's where it kind of comes back again. Trump has kind of said, "Well, I've seen presidents do this kind of thing where they turn up and hold a book outside a building, so I'll go and do that, or I will stand here and say nothing, but use words. I'll use a lot of words because that's what presidents do." But I don't know any big words, so I'll just, when people write them down, I will have to translate that for my audience and go off piste a bit because Obama was good at extemporizing, so I'll just do that, and that will make me presidential. and a member of the Dictators Club. Yeah. So, So into cut with the gym bit. So he's doing dancing things. She goes off to the gym, sits on a Peloton, gets hassled by a fat bloke.
I mean, hassled?
Just looks at her.
Certainly.
He
kind of leers at her. But and ultimately, it seems very clear that the reason that she is disgusted by the fact that this man is leering at her is because he's fat. It's not because he's leering so much. I get the very strong feeling that if it was a kind of Disney Prince kind of guy,
exactly, if it was the next but one guy over,
this is exactly why I come out in public to do this when I have a Peloton in my house.
Quite. Yes,
but it's this fat guy who's a bit sweaty, and therefore he must die.
He must die. He must die. And so he gets stalked by her in the car park. She apparently stabs him to death
with a shoe.
The heel of a shoe. Yeah, and then it gets confusing because you think, okay, she's doing that. Then we get to see our man Tyler, who's out standing by a rusty sculpture in a dressing gown,
standing on.
By
the house.
Who suddenly is so filthy as a result. He has to have a shower.
Mm-hmm.
So we see him we see his butt basically, and I guess that's the juxtaposition between fat bloke and not fat bloke.
Yeah,
and that's it. And then that gets interrupted with a phone call.
Well, hang on. While he's showering.
Yeah,
we get a bit of kind of comedy ? Of the fact that although she's killed this dude in the parking garage, she can't get him in the car because he's too fat. She can't lift him.
The trunk. She can't lift him into the trunk of the Mustang. Yeah, but which is kind of comedy.
Kind of, yeah. Again, in it's one of those scenes where in more talented hands it could actually be funny.
Yeah,
and it just feels a bit lazy and slightly fat shamey in this.
I've realised that what this film is a storyboard. It's one of those. It's a what do they call it? Not an automatic,
animatic,
something matic, and an animatic, isn't it? That's what it is. Yeah, but in full colour.
Yeah,
needlessly, it's an animatic of this is what the film looks like, and you kind of. You talk your way through it. I can imagine, Jon Favreau or John Lasseter or something, kind of going through it, going, "Oh yeah, okay, like that, yeah, okay, we're going to need to work on that because that's a bit fat shaming. Let's go back a bit because John Lasseter bit sensitive about that kind of stuff, and then go, oh yeah, so this bit there will be a big kind of highlighted." Sharpie ring round it that said needs some improvement.
This is a
funnying up.
This is a first draft from someone with enough money to make a first draft look polished.
Exactly. Or look shiny. Yeah.
Polished is overblown. Definitely.
Too many connotations.
It's shiny because of the number of neon lights pointing at it. Basically.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, it's
shiny like a sweaty bald head, not like a diamond or something like that. That's been
glossy like a fresh turd. Is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, before it's dried out. Yeah,
before it's dried out on the sidewalk. Yeah. That's what it is, because it's got lots of lights pointing at it. And it's on the little turntable, and there's kind of, really shallow depth of field highlighting the reflection.
A nicely shot turd.
Nicely shot turd. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. So, meanwhile, intercut with her struggling with the fat bloke in the trunk, where she has to wield a hammer and a saw, and a man who is not convincingly dead. There's a phone call from the other half of the bad outfit.
Yeah.
And you say, well, what you been doing? Chad, that's like Chip. Yeah, what are you doing? I think I'm falling for no, don't fuck about, don't vacillate. He
Does he
said,
say
I
don't
here,
vacillate? I didn't even
don't vacillate.
feel like I would have written that down. But
yeah.
Okay.
But no time for that shit. Don't vacillate. If we don't pay Jose back, he's going to kill us, chop our nuts off, or do something. What's he going to do? He's going to cut our nuts off, which is, I noted, was not unfunnily, wash my mouth out with soap, not unfunnily, over a shot of her with a bolt cutter. And I'm thinking, well, why has she got a bolt cutter when she tried to cut a fat bloke up sufficiently to fit him in the trunk of a Mustang?
It's going to take ages with a bolt cutter.
It's going to, little nibbles. You're not going to cut through that other than bolts. But I think that was the one gag in the film. If we don't pay Jose back, he's going to cut our nuts off over the shot of a bolt
I
cutter.
completely missed that one gag. So
yeah. It may well be that they were just flagging the cut the nuts off bit. So you kind of go, okay. And then my note is, righto, so we've got shortcut. Yeah, so, dun, dun, dun. If we don't pay Jose back, we'll cut our nuts off and feed them to us. And then, oh, how we laugh. Like he's done that already. Ha, ha, ha. And then, and it's Jose, not Luigi, not Vladimir. Or Chin, or even just James, Charles, or Donald, or Steve. Nope. Just so you know, we're not doing needless racial stereotyping shortcuts. It's Jose. All right? Okay. So we go, all right, fine.
Also, at this point, Chad claims that the Mustang is worth 120 grand.
Yep.
Which, I mean, there must be something very specifically useful or interesting about this particular Mustang, because a 68 Mustang is worth about 35 grand.
Wow. What, even in showroom condition?
I mean, average price. So I mean, it would, to be worth almost 4 times as much, it would have to be in pretty fucking good condition, wouldn't it?
It would have to be new with no miles on it. Yeah. Well, which we get later on. Yeah. My brother rang me up the other day and said, oh, yeah, in view of your upcoming birthday, what is it? What do you fancy for your birthday?
68 Mustang.
So I've been looking on the strength of this movie. I did go look up 68 Mustangs. Yeah, because for my son's 18th, that was his birthday present. Well, it wasn't 68, it was a 66. That was his birthday present. We went and hired a 66 Mustang and then drove around in it. And went to a motor museum and then parked, proper Batman kind of style across several things. Went to the motor museum, which didn't contain anything as nice as our blue Mustang. And then we drove to a big toy shop and parked outside and went in. And the guy said, "Yeah, can I help?" And we said, "Yeah, we want a model car like that one out there." And he went, "Oh, wow." Like that. And he said, "I've got the 68 that Steve McQueen drove in Bullet, but not a blue one." Yeah. There we go. So, yeah, 30 grand,
Yeah.
That's not something your brother could turn his nose up at, is it? Yeah. So then she's home covered in blood, and he's cooked, and he's concerned. And she lies about hitting a coyote and the vet.
Yeah.
Going to the vet.
Yeah, she claims that she
hit a coyote to the vet.
Coyote, took it to the vet. It didn't make it. That's why she's covered in blood.
Yeah. Why? Why does she lie about that? She told him earlier she's a cold-blooded murderer. Why has she not just said, "I've killed somebody"?
Has she told him that? I don't think she's told him that yet.
Oh, she's not told him that yet. But she's kind of, she's not out loud to his face. All right. So, okay. And
at this point,
all right.
she has decided.
Okay.
First of all, she's saying kind of there's a come down after the kill that you kind of feel like I guess
coming
off
off
drugs,
heroin, like you do,
and
and
she kind of feels like she doesn't want to kill him at this point. And so therefore she needs to get him to leave, because otherwise she'll obviously kill him. And
I loved her description of coming off heroin. You feel depressed, agitated, and irritable.
Yeah, that's.
And I went, okay, you've not seen Trainspotting then?
Entirely standard heroin withdrawal.
Yeah, depressed, agitated, bit irritable.
A bit irritable. Yeah.
I'm likely to
a bit
snap.
Snappy.
If you don't get out of the house, I'm likely to kill you. You know.
Yeah,
so,
I'll speak harshly to you.
I'll tut and huff is what I'll do. Yeah.
But yeah, she doesn't want to kill him, so she tries to get him to leave. And when he protests, she says, what did you think, we're going to fuck like rabbits, raise rugrats, and live happily ever after?
Spoiler alert.
This is a direct quote from Basic Instinct. Right. Although in Basic Instinct it's actually fuck like minks, raise rugrats, and live happily ever after. But close enough. I don't know why she would change it from minks to rabbits. That's fine, and it's an actual thing. It's a real quote then.
Proper quote, yeah. Perhaps she thought she was just improving it. Or maybe she just misremembered it.
Yeah,
going, what we should do here is say that bit out of that film with that woman
called Catherine.
Yeah, that one. Let's do that. Yeah,
but
see,
in one of the nicer, and again trying really hard to be kind, one of the nicer references. Spoiler alert: this line comes back at the end. And that is exactly how it's used in Basic Instinct. It is Catherine saying to Michael Douglas, essentially, what did you think we were going to do? Fuck like mink, raise rugrats, and live happily ever after. And then at the end, it comes back, and they're like, let's do that. Yeah. So it's structurally an actual film reference where she doesn't look directly at the camera and say, like this Basic Instinct.
Film reference, yeah. So, which I'm so much better than.
Kudos for not overdoing this particular reference.
Not giving us a fourth wall. Yeah, exactly. See, but at this point, I'm still not sure I feel sorry enough for him to be worried about the fact that she might kill him.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with him killing her killing him.
Or exactly, or that she's in love with him enough for that to be worrying for her.
Yeah.
And I still, at this point, I really don't care.
And but here is where we get the title drop, where she says, "Me, you, madness."
Yeah, because she,
Now there's a thing.
This is the moment in the story where you've got to have. So we've had girl meets boy, and boy fall in love with girl. This is the bit where we've got to have the girl rejects boy.
In a
love story.
Yeah. There's got to be conflict issues in the relationship. Yeah, exactly. But in terms of a title drop, there's certain films where the title doesn't necessarily mean anything or make sense until you've seen the film.
Yeah,
I'm thinking specifically one is Dead Poets Society. For me, before I'd seen it, it's a really weird title. It makes complete sense after you've seen the film. There's, it absolutely it makes sense. Not only that it is a phrase, but it makes sense that that's the title they chose for the film. It's perfect.
Yeah.
But Me You Madness isn't a sentence. It isn't a thing you can say.
It's not a thing.
She tries as hard as possible to turn it into a thing that a person might say, and still does a terrible job of it. And even though she says it in the film and it becomes a direct title drop, it's still a stupid title.
Because it's not apparent that at any point there is a me and a you, as far as they're concerned, or that it's madness.
There are so many. I mean, it's not even that there are better titles. Obviously, there are better titles. But like of all of the things that you could choose to call this film, even if you restrict yourself only to things they've said in the film, there's a huge number of better things this could have been called.
Yeah, many of which we've shoved or you've shoved into the montage at the beginning. Yeah. It's a pile
of dead bad people would be an infinitely better title for this film.
Yes, it's a pile of dead bad people. Yeah, exactly. How bad are they? They're dead bad. Yeah.
So title drop not entertaining here.
No.
But then he does leave angrily, essentially, and she showers. So we get a little bit of again another shower. Because they really like the shower in this.
Exactly, we haven't had some. Yeah, she's got to. It's the end of the scene.
Yeah,
and the rule is at the end of the scene she has to have
someone has to have a shower.
Fewer clothes
and
fewer clothes.
And I've written in my notes, he steals the car and then in quotation marks drives away because because what we get is this appalling back projection or someone holding up a blown up photo behind the car while he sits in the car. It's like they only had permission to drive the Mustang for like 12 minutes and they couldn't possibly film all of the stuff that they needed during that period. So the rest of the time they just had to sit in it and like
go
and everyone just say move this will probably be fine. People will think that you're driving along.
We'll put some lens flare on. Nobody will know. Yeah. Then the event for my son's 18th, where we got the Mustang, we filmed most of it and we put it together as a kind of Ferris Bueller's Day Off kind of thing. So we did this bit where he's sitting in the car staring, and I'm outside filming it. And at one point, I've walked past the car, did a kind of tracking shot past the car, and then cut that to me driving it away. Right. So we both wore a white shirt and a tie. So it looks like he's driving it, to all intents and purposes. And that's what this movie is like. Let's get somebody who's not allowed to drive the car to look like they're driving the car. So you do a little push in. You wave some stuff over the windshield,
and I mean that's what they did in the Aston Martin earlier on. Is she didn't drive that Aston Martin anywhere? She sat in the. No. I don't know if maybe she can't drive, but we saw lots of shots of the Aston Martin driving along, and we saw some shots of her sitting in a car, but there was no point at which anyone was convinced that she was driving it. And then what we get essentially here is. I've again in my notes. Technically, this is a montage because there are edits. But what it actually is just cutting between him looking bored in the car, looking kind of blank as if he's got nothing going on, and her in the shower, essentially, I mean, naked at various points, and a bit upset. Like sitting down and kind of crying, but you can't see that she's crying because it's a shower, and she can't because she's and then they try
and what they do is try and tell the story in the equivalent of a voiceover by having the song lyrics tell us what's going on, which is it's kind of. It's not how that works,
Yeah, this is not a musical, therefore you can't do that. That's against the rules.
No, that's kind of. It's not an underscore. It's not underscoring stuff. It's and then we get a massive voiceover that explains it.
Yeah,
going, I have a soft spot for him, and I was thinking in greater hands, like in the hands of Peter Sellers. If this was a Peter Sellers sketch. That line, I have a soft spot for him, would be followed with, a swamp just outside the Epping Forest. But no. So she's not felt this way since she was 6.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like it.
And then she looks outside and she sees that the car is gone. And we get a shot of her looking at no car. for way too long.
Yeah.
Because she can't act for more than a few seconds at a time. And this shot holds for longer than she can act for.
Yeah. And then we get a massive drone up and away, which is kind of the visual equivalent of the voiceover saying, and the Mustang has gone. Look how it's gone. Are you looking? Are you still noticing? It's gone. It's definitely gone.
Yeah, this film has no faith in its audience whatsoever.
No. No.
There are things you can do in films where we saw him drive it away. We know it's not there. It doesn't take long for them to show that she is also now aware it has gone, and yet we linger on this moment forever. And maybe again in other hands, in more talented hands, the reason for holding on this kind of shot, or the reason for the pull away, or any of it, might have been to give the actor an opportunity to show something, some emotion, some realization, some storytelling, character building, something. And you can do that. There are actors who you can hold a shot on, and you can see what they're thinking from their facial expressions and what happens with their eyes, and you can go on a journey with them just in a single shot. That is fucking not the case with Louise Linton.
No, because there also needs to have been something fairly tumultuous in their psychological journey that has led them to the point that we can then see their realization. Actually, it can even happen in the short stuff by Michael Spicer. There's one where he's saying, I can't remember, is it a Trump thing that he's the man next door for? And he kind of goes through this thing and he goes, yeah, so you just say that and that'll be enough. And then he just says, and that'll be enough.
Yeah.
And that'll be enough. And you see this, and it's 15 seconds long. Yeah. And this guy is a comedian, pretty much a comedy writer, but he's excellent. It's the entirety of that 15 seconds contains more acting than this whole film does. And because it's just, you just go, okay, yes. And you're taken along with him for his dawning realization of the stupidity of his job as political advisor. Right now there is in cinemas a trailer for Cyrano, the new version of Cyrano de Bergerac, with Peter Dinklage as Cyrano. Yep.
And there is a scene in the trailer where Roxanne says to him that she's in love with someone, and she hasn't spoken to him. And there's a close-up on Peter Dinklage's face, and he says, "Of your love?" Meaning, I haven't spoken to him of my love. And she says, "At all." And his face goes from hope to despair in a second. And it's really close up. His face fills the 30-foot screen or whatever you've got in your local cinema. And you see a story happening in that second of him changing his face and his emotion and stuff. And the way that she holds, because she's directed this, the way she holds on her face at that moment when she notices the car has gone, it suggests that you're supposed to be able to tell something is going on behind her eyes. That there is some story happening. That she's made a realization other than, fuck, that guy's stolen my Mustang.
He's got a car. Car's gone.
Yeah.
But something is going on behind her eyes. That's exactly it. Yeah, we kind of. It's not like we've had that. The shape of that, because he's been driving the Mustang and thumping the steering wheel in a chiseled kind of way, and she's been crouched at the bottom of the shower, which has been done in so many other movies so much better. At the end of a trauma, that's been done. And there's one, I can't remember what it is, but there's one where The woman is in the shower. Something terrible has happened to her. She's sitting in the shower, and she slides down. It might even be like CSI or the British equivalent. And she slides down the glass, sits on the floor, and the guy comes in and sits fully clothed with her and puts his arm around her shoulders. And you kind of think that's infinitely better. And we've had that kind of shaped thing, so we know that this is the regretful breakup bit. And then we get the pull away shot from her empty face to the empty car parking space. And you think, what's that for? What's it for? Is she regretting the breakup, or is she furious with him because the car is definitely gone? It's still gone. Look how much it's gone.
And it's difficult to tell how much of it is her acting ability and how much of it is Botox, because there's probably some crossover there.
Yeah. She's trying as hard as she can to make the ends of her face move around. But anyway. So meanwhile, cut to Tyler barreling along the freeway in the Mustang, and we get a call from his accomplice who thinks it's weird wearing her jewellery. You've got
which seems, I think, to be the only reason this is a video call instead of just a phone call.
Exactly. I know up till then he's been calling him on the burner phone because they're criminals. Up to then, but now it's a video phone, and we get to see Chad in all his glory, so that he can see that Tyler is wearing her jewelry. Yeah, and then says, "Yeah, why not? I think it's a thing. Could be a thing. Oh no, that's later." He goes, "Yeah,
yes, and then we get her voiceover of kind of accepting that this has happened in a way. What we get is it's 55 seconds of voiceover, and it's not even cut away. We get a single shot of her thinking the stuff she's saying in voiceover. It's like 10 times too long for this kind of shot of someone saying what they're thinking. It's unbelievably lazy writing. If you're going to have if all you can do to show what your character is going through is have them say what they're going through in voiceover, it needs to also do something else. It needs to be it needs to move the story on. It needs to tell you something about her that you couldn't otherwise find out. It needs to move something. It needs to change something about how you feel about her. All this does is tell you how she's feeling, because she can't right now, show
we can see
how she's feeling.
And we can hear it.
Visually.
That's exactly. So we go, what's going on there? Oh, we need a massive voiceover to tell us that.
And the other thing she says is, I find my way out, like of trouble, with undeniable, exhausting ease. What the fuck is exhausting ease? How can you? How can it be both easy and exhausting?
Exhausting, yeah. Or something that brings you your ease and yet exhausts you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because nobody kind of went, what the fuck does that mean? We're just keeping it in the... We're getting paid far too much money. Just leave it in. It's fine. Just shoot this. It'll be fine. Yeah. So, So basically, she's telling us that it's a bit of a problem. She's got a problem. You know, there's a problem because he's gone. She's feeling a bit like this. She's not sure how to work it out. And then Phoebe Waller-Bridges us straight to camera at the end of the voiceover and tells us pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
But in a new outfit. Because now, meanwhile, she's back at the business of making money. So not only have we seen her biting the pillow on the bed, we've heard the voiceover explaining what's going on in a kind of shit American Psychopath kind of way, which we're not interested in. as a result. And then she tells us the same thing to camera, pretty much. But in case we didn't get it in the other two bits, yeah, it's just basically it's not good filmmaking, is it? That's the only thing. Then we get, meanwhile, back in the business of making money, and then we get an airplane-sized joke about a CEO sending a dick pic and a subsequent stock fall and an hilarious confusion over whether it was big. Yada, yada, yada. Was the stock fall big? Was the dick big? Yeah. And then we get a very confusing bit. The voice on the phone says the stock dropped 40 points in the last 20 minutes. She said she sold all her holdings 18 minutes ago. So,
well, presumably at the moment it started to drop,
right?
But
she sold it.
But yeah,
is that good business? Sell when it's low?
Well, no, because you sell before it drops. That's the point.
Right.
So it started dropping, so she sold it before it dropped any further, I guess.
Right.
Kind of.
Wouldn't it be a better indication of her business acumen if she said, "I sold my holding 21 minutes ago"?
Yeah.
So it's kind of...
Yeah, because she was the first to see the dick pic or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, seriously, in today's business environment, how many businesses would their stock drop 20% because the CEO sent a dick pic? I don't think it makes that much difference to a lot of people.
Exactly. I mean, infinite number of CEOs look like dicks anyway. Yeah. Anyway, so while she's on the computer setup thing, product placement here, she tracks him to Chabolita Tacos via the tracking device that the fat guy had on him? Question mark.
Mustang generally, or his phone?
Yeah,
it's Tyler's phone. Because she's been tracking Tyler's phone apparently for...
All I can think is, I take it they've not found the body in the trunk.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. And we said this at the end of last episode, but it would have been much more interesting rather than what we've got here, which is she calls Tyler. She calls Tyler on the phone and says, I know where you are, bring the car back.
Yeah.
It would have been much more interesting if she'd been going, oh shit, this is really bad. He's not only stolen my Mustang, he's got a dead body in the back. And he had found the body and then had to figure out what he was going to do. Yeah. Because then there's some interest and some conflict. There's a
little bit of horse trading that could go on as well.
Do I take the car back? Do I abandon the car? It's the car's still worth lots of money. Do I dump the body? Yeah. There's questions of what the kind of best thing for him to do or the right thing to do or whatever. And then he has some leverage over her as well. Whereas they just abandon that and never mention the fact that there's a body in the trunk again in the film at all.
No. Nor any evidence of hitting a coyote.
Well, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
On the front of the thing. I mean, the thing is perfect on the front. Mm-hmm. He's not noticed that because obviously he's walked around the... did he walk around the front? Don't know. We'll have to go back and look at the parking, how it was parked. No, I'm not going to do that. Did he walk around the front? Did kind of like... Yeah, as you get in the Mustang, you're thinking, I'm going to steal the Mustang. Is it still worth $110,000? It's not anyway. $110,000 with a fucking great dent in it because there's a coyote caught in the radiator. Yeah. Is it going to be leaking coolant? All that kind of stuff. Am I going to overheat it? Mm-hmm. Am I going to get far enough? All of that. Plus, the other thing is, right, you're at Chabolito Tacos, and I'm thinking, aha, here we go, Jose, right?
Yeah. No, that doesn't come into it.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
And she's cleverly, without using Snapchat or Instagram, tracked down all of the duo's previous crimes. Because what she does is ring them up and said, I've noticed that your GPS, and he says, well, yeah, of course we've still got the GPS on, because how else would we load all our robberies up to Snapchat and Instagram? How would we geolocate
how would we
them
geotag
otherwise?
Our Insta.
Yeah, exactly. So, why wouldn't the cops be able to do that then already with Snapchat and Instagram? And is this because earlier she was moaning about millennials and their overuse of the internet?
Probably.
And she isn't a millennial with their overuse of the internet. And thus, given that it's just stupidity on her part, given that she's almost the same age as Tyler, in her narrative anyway, he's playing older than he is, and she's playing younger than she is. Yeah,
but she tells him all of the places that they've been and stolen stuff, all of which are, to be fair, fake addresses, which is good practice.
Which is good practice. Yeah.
So that's good. And
but so many opportunities for film references they could have had.
Yeah.
She talks about Mulholland Drive, but
yeah.
And
then she says that if he doesn't bring the car back, she'll send all the info to the NYPD.
Yeah.
And
then they say,
"Oh, don't you think it should be the LAPD because the NYPD don't have jurisdiction in LA?" Yeah. I don't get this. Did I miss something? Is there a reference we're not getting? Because I don't.
What's this for?
Yeah.
What's this gag for? And it's got. We talked about this before. It's got the shape of a humorous exchange between ne'er-do-well accomplices. Bit like Harry and Marv in Home Alone.
But they're just basically going, haha, you fucked up when you said.
Yeah.
And she's supposed to be intelligent, and I don't understand this at all. I don't know. Maybe it's something that I'm missing. Maybe it's a reference.
It reminded me of the guys in the van in Ant-Man, who are.
Yeah, but they're comedy characters. That's the point. Is Michael Pena and they are. That's their point. They're mechanicals essentially in the Shakespearean kind of drama of Ant-Man. They are purely there for comedy. Whereas this is a moment between the leads essentially, which is weirdly out of character and place and tone with the rest of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem. I don't know. I didn't understand why that was there.
Yeah, it ought to be hilarious that they've Snapchatted and Instagrammed their crimes in a wet bandits kind of way, but it's just not. Yeah. They are kind of. They're kind of Venkman laughing in the face of the implacable foe in Ghostbusters, but she isn't implacable. No. She's
that is a good point, because you're absolutely right. Venkman and characters like that, characters like John McClane in Die Hard, who say witty things in bad situations to two enemies who are not that kind of character. You have to have characters who are either funny or intelligent or witty or whatever. If all of your characters are basically the same, and say the same kind of stuff in the same kind of accent with the same kind of dialogue and the same kind of like big words or small words or whatever, then they become that's the problem with a writer who isn't a good writer writing dialogue for all the characters, is they all sound the same. And to be honest, it's really not difficult. It's not a complicated thing. Every sitcom does it properly, because not every sitcom, but any good sitcom has a range of different characters, and each of them have their own personality
and their own part to play in the Shakespearean web.
But this is, she thought of a funny thing, or a thing she thought was funny, and put it in the mouths of people who had no business saying it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's no, because the thing about the Ghostbusters and Venkman is that in a situation where it's looking grim, the everyman still has a way of triumphing.
Yeah.
There's a way of finding a way out of, even when the needle dick comes to say you've got to switch off the thing, is going, oh no, don't do that. There are gags there where they know it's a Shakespearean tragedy because it's inevitable that they're going to switch off the grid and release all the ghosts, and yet in the face of that they still make gags and head for the exit.
Yeah, and in a way that Ray or Egon wouldn't. In a different voices.
Yeah. Quite. Yeah. And then there's another bit which is in the same vein. She gives them a 60-minute deadline, and actually this is the other gag in the film. The 60-minute, which would be kind of good if it was Bill Murray delivering it, it would work. But she gives them a 60-minute deadline, and then they go, well, Waze says it'll be 59 minutes, so therefore could we make it 90? And I've put, that's quite funny on paper.
Yeah. Also, he says they're in Los Feliz. But they've picked Chabolita Tacos, which is an actual place. It's not a made up taco place.
Right.
It's a kind of Los Angeles
landmark.
Yes. Yeah, it's a real place that people know. It's not in Los Feliz.
Right.
It's like 7 miles from Los Feliz.
All right, so they've been really careful not using proper addresses.
Yeah.
And then they've used a real place and said it's in a different place.
Yeah.
What? Why would you do that? What? Plus, also, if it's only 59 minutes away, then you could get there in 60 minutes.
Yeah, and it's realistically, it's about 40 minutes away.
Oh, okay.
Even
if it's not in Los Feliz.
That does, yeah.
Right.
That does get kind of explained later because he says that Waze was accounting for some traffic that cleared.
Yeah, but it's not funny.
But no, it's not. No,
it's needless.
It's just it is the classic kind of middle-aged person arriving at relatives going, which road was it the
A127? No, we had to go around there because
there was a diversion on the A16, and then
so we had to go via the A127, which took us through a whole bunch of roadworks. And how long have those
temporary
roadworks
traffic
been
lights?
there?
That was very What the fuck?
Yeah. Which in better hands, it would be funnier. It would work if you were up against an implacable foe and you're talking, and the implacable foe joins in and kind of goes, "Oh yeah, no, absolutely, I know. That's you should have come the other way."
Yeah, exactly.
When they're driving to certain death,
yeah,
and they're a bit delayed, you want the guy that's going to mete out the certain death to join in with the gag.
Absolutely. Like later on when they're fighting, like literally kind of all out. Punching each other in the face, and then they go, "Oh, can we just stop for a bit of water?" And they both agree to stop.
Yeah.
Again, that kind of thing could work.
Yeah.
Because it's unexpected and humour often comes out of subverting expectations. Again, it's the kind of thing you can see being funny if someone good at writing wrote it.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's just frustratingly out of place, and it's just you just constantly find yourself wishing that someone with talent had looked at this script.
Yeah, and said, you can't just put that stuff in because you've seen it in other movies. Just because you've seen other people do it, and you're doing something that you think that they're doing, that doesn't make it what they've done.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit in the context because of all the reasons that we've talked about, that there's no established characterization, etc., etc. But it also doesn't fit the movie.
No. And tonally it is all over the place. It's like sometimes she's trying to make Scream and sometimes she's trying to make Scary Movie.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And if if Scream had some of the silly gags that Scary Movie has in it, you'd think, well, what the fuck's going on there? That's really weird. Yeah. And if Scary Movie was trying to be genuinely scary at any point, that would be weird too.
Yeah, because you kind of
that's not what those films are about, and she's trying to have it both ways here.
What she's missed is that there's an agreement between the audience and the filmmakers. They're going, Scream, right? Yeah. Well, this thing kind of pokes fun at all the tropes in that. And so you go there, having seen Scream or anything like it, you go see Scary Movie and you go, I know exactly what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Don't go indoors, don't go upstairs, switch the fucking lights on.
Absolutely.
Look behind the furniture. What are you doing? All of those things are in there. There's an agreement between, right, we know what we've got to do. Whereas this one is just going, well, yeah, there's that thing in that movie and this thing in that movie. But we've not agreed yet how this is set up. So we don't understand what you're trying to do, but we do understand you're not doing it very well because we don't get it. We don't understand why this so-called humorous air quotes humorous exchange is going on. Why is that in there? It's out of character and it's out of context, and it doesn't explain anything. Where is Jose? What happened there?
And there's sections like the driving away in inverted commas in the car and the emotion in the shower, where it feels like you're supposed to feel emotion. You're supposed to feel bad for these characters or upset for them or There's no humour in that section, in that 55 fucking seconds of VO after she gets out the shower, or any of that. That's an entirely serious section of film where, and there are TV shows and films where you can laugh and cry. And they tend to be the best ones, Wonder Years, MASH, West Wing, all kinds of things where you feel bad for the characters. You invest yourself in their success and failure, and also you find things funny at times as well. That's not the style or the tone that's happening here at all.
No,
this is silly humor and moments where they seem to expect you to care about them. With none of the work put in.
Yes, exactly.
That requires.
Yeah. Other than this is the shape of other movies where I felt I cared about the character. I felt sorry for them. I felt some emotion welling up. What was it about that? Oh, well, it was because they were crouching on the floor in the shower.
Yeah.
Or they were gritting their teeth and thumping the steering wheel. You go, okay, right, lovely. So it's this film is a list film. Like you get list songs.
Yeah, it's like her lists of film references that scroll up the screen.
Yeah. And we're about to get another one.
Yeah.
Because at this point, there's like in the space of I don't know 2 minutes, if that, half a minute. We get several changes of costume.
Well, again. Before we get to the first list in this section, she's changed her costume. She's standing out by the weird sculpture
the rusty
thing.
Sculpture, and the pile of dirt.
And she says, in voiceover, obviously, that she has some champagne chilled to a perfect 37 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Which is not, by any measure, the temperature you chill champagne to.
Yeah.
The champagne.fr, which is the website.
Yeah.
That's
France.
Champagne's website.
Yeah.
says it's 47 to 50 degrees is how is the temperature that champagne should be served at. Any colder numbs the taste buds and makes aromas hard to detect.
Ah.
So
37 is not perfect at all.
37, far too cold.
Well,
there's a
metaphor there, isn't there? For she's taken it to an extreme, and consequently, we can't taste all the nuances.
Yeah,
that that's if only she was self-aware enough to know that was what was wrong with this movie.
Numbed our film taste buds.
Exactly. So we can't taste,
can't appreciate,
or experience
the nuance.
the hints, the flavors, hidden depths of nuances and stuff like that. Yes. So then, oh God. So while she's out there by the rusty thing, drinking champagne that's too cold, she's trying to decide how to dispose of Tyler. And so then we get another change of costume, and we're indoors, and she talks about the nail gun and said, let's add that to the list of movie weapon tropes that don't necessarily reflect real life. Featured in everything from Casino Royale, Lethal Weapon. This handyman tool has become the fixture on the silver screen. And then she goes,
what about American Psycho? It's fucking in American
Hello,
Psycho.
Exactly.
He has a nail gun. Why doesn't she talk?
Final Destination.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah, this concept of choosing which weapon to use to kill someone.
Uh-huh.
Again, when you take a thing you've seen in other films and thought was good in those films, you are competing with those films. And it's either a direct reference, in which case okay if it's kind of quick and finished with, but this goes on a fucking long time. But it's impossible to see this and this entire concept of which weapon is best to kill this person was done definitively, and everyone else stopped doing it now in Pulp Fiction. Yeah, there is no better scene than Butch coming out of the basement of Zed's shop, having kind of escaped being violated, and deciding, moving from weapon to weapon, choosing which one he's going to go back and fuck them up with, and there's like the samurai sword and the chainsaw and it's just that's it. There is no other film that you should look at in terms of this idea. And she takes it, drags it out, makes it awful. Yeah. I mean, well, let's get into it. How I've got a page of notes on just this.
Well, yeah, but it's Well, when she kind of goes, and then she goes on, okay, so maybe I should use a gun, and then she attempts to list guns in movies, which it's a bit cliched. Guns have been in all sorts of movies, and then lists them. And my note is kind of like, it's going to be a tough challenge to find anything original in a world where far more successful than this films exist, like Final Destination and Saw, with all their inventive and unforeseen deaths of choice. So instead of doing that, apart from the nail gun, she opts for a kind of, it's a sort of sub-Deadpool kind of thing, sort of, but without any shred of humour, because she doesn't understand humour, doesn't do any work. Ryan Reynolds does. and then kind of, my notes is it's a very eclectic list of guns in movies and not in the least bit informed.
Yeah, I mean,
informative,
no,
original, or good.
Informed at all. But
no.
I can kind of understand if you were going to say, nail gun, that's been in these films.
Yeah.
Throwing stars, they've been in these films.
Yeah.
Guns, have been in like a good 80% of films.
Yeah.
And yet she still manages to list films on her list with no guns in. In the list that she starts saying to camera, and then it starts scrolling up the screen.
Yeah, yeah.
And it scrolls, and as a comedy moment, her thing speeds up and the list speeds up because obviously there's too many gun films to talk about.
And yet,
she's in the list. First of all, she puts every James Bond film. She puts James Bond twice, and also has several specific James Bond films in there. She spells
Tommy Blonde again.
Yeah,
yeah.
She spells Tarantino's name wrong because she puts every Tarantino film, but she spells his name wrong. She spells Sicario wrong. She has Die Hard in there twice. She has By the Gun in there twice. She has Two Guns in there twice. She has Top Gun in there, which admittedly has gun in the name, but doesn't have a gun in the film.
In it. Yeah.
I mean, there are guns attached to planes, but not a handgun, which is what she's talking about.
Yeah.
She says Gun Theory, which isn't a film. There isn't a film called Gun Theory. Unless it's like one her friend made and never released and she's seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most lazy, simple, basic. You could farm out to an intern, make me a list of 200 films with guns in.
Yeah.
And it would take them an hour, if that.
Yeah.
I mean, just off the top of their fucking heads, most people could do it.
And it's a strangely millennial kind of list. It's a list of people who have never heard of Humphrey Bogart.
Well, there's films in there like Johnny's Got His Gun, which isn't even the name of the film. In which also for some reason has the G. The it's not capitalized, the title. But the Train from Gun Hill, things like that. There's basically this is a list not made by a film fan, but made by someone with access to IMDb.
Yeah.
She searched IMDb for gun and just like wrote some stuff down, accidentally wrote several of them down twice, misspelled several of them.
Yeah.
It's if you wanted to say these are films where a handgun, a Glock even, you could be that specific, has been used to shoot someone, it would be trivially easy to make that list and not repeat yourself, spell things wrong, and include things that didn't have guns in. And yet, the amount of effort that she has been prepared to put into this thing is just not enough. Not enough to...
No.
It's like not proofreading a poster before you put it up at a on a billboard. You just can't be fucked to even think about whether you spelt it right.
And it's not enough work to make it work. That's the thing.
It's a shit gag, and it's done badly, and she should feel bad.
It doesn't work. Yeah, but of course she doesn't, because she thinks she's brilliant of doing this unique thing. And you think, why would you choose gun, which has been in every film ever made ever? Why would you not choose? So you've given up the nail gun and then gone to a gun. Why haven't you chosen a food blender or something unique? And then that will be a good gag to actually do some work and find out that this really peculiar device for killing people has actually turned up in a lot of films. It's not interesting or innovative or original to say, okay, I'm not going to use a gun because a gun turns up in every movie.
Yeah. no one is surprised
No.
that there are lots of films with guns in.
And
this
and
isn't
the list that the list is finite.
Yeah,
It is what it annoys me. that just this list. Here are only the films that have had guns in. These are the only films that have had guns in. It's not true. Every fucking film ever, from the Wind with Lillian Gish in 1910 had guns in it.
I mean, The Great Train Robbery, 1906.
Got guns in it.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's how they affected the robbery. So you kind of think, what are you doing here? Why? You've either got to have every single film that's got a gun in it. I mean, every film. Or not do it at all.
Yeah. Or, I mean, yes. There are other ways. And that, again, it keeps coming back to the fact that there are ways this could have been done that might have worked.
Yeah,
there are other ways you could have approached this scene by choosing, as you say, other weapons. By if you're gonna do guns, be specific about this specific type of gun and mention, either more films or the big films that notably have guns in them, or
not
just doing it right, being careful about it. But there are 20 ways that this could have been done better. It is sloppy and upsetting to watch.
It is, but then worse, right? Worse.
Oh God! What comes next?
We then get another costume change, and then she says, these are nunchucks." And then she said, "Nunchucks are cool for two reasons. One, because I like the word, but then number one, Bruce Lee used them in many of his movies." And then you go, "Okay, quick, Google how many movies, including Enter the Dragon."
Yeah,
which is one of my favourites. Don't list them.
Just Enter the Dragon.
But including Enter the Dragon. It's not even kind of, Bruce Lee was a famous film star. He was a martial arts expert. He did many films, including Enter the Dragon. Thank you for listening to my assignment class. It's just shit. Given the supposed encyclopedic list of guns, why didn't she just go, nunchucks? Bruce Lee uses them in every single film. This one, that 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 one, up to the moment of his death.
At least mention Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: Secret of the Ooze.
Exactly. Exactly. That would be funny. See, there would be a point to it. And but no, she gets onto, because it's a word I like.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure whether it's one word or two.
And then she uses them.
I can really do cool shit with them. She says,
and then we get a body double from the neck down, using nunchucks.
Not really cool shit.
Not brilliantly. No,
not really.
Not
no
cool.
You know that
not Bruce Lee
thing,
level.
No, that thing where it's like a big, it's a Diablo, that big kind of yo-yo thing that you flick in the air and catch it and all that. This isn't as advanced as that. Somebody on X Factor who goes, "Oh yeah, I can do Diablo," and then they get the 3 crosses, almost immediately. That is better than what she's doing.
And the thing is, and it obviously isn't her.
No, because she's the fat guy in the dress. In the close-ups.
And earlier on, we had Tyler say to her, "I can't tell if you're trying to be funny." I can't remember what she said to him to get that response. Yeah, anything. Oh yeah, he's woken up from being drugged, and he says, "What happened to you?" She says, "I roofied you." Yeah. And he says, "I can't tell if you're trying to be funny." And that's how I felt here, because I don't know if she thinks that this is obviously a body double, and that's the point and that's the joke. In which case, it would have been funnier if it was a more obvious body double. I mean, it's obviously a body double because they only show her from the neck down and because she doesn't really fit into the clothes that the character's wearing, and because, you know, obviously we're only seeing her from the neck down because Louise Linton can't do this. But if it was a fat bloke in the dress with like a hairy chest and whatever doing this,
now
that would be funny. Yeah. Or funnier.
Yeah.
Because it would be obviously a body double. This is kind of plausibly someone a bit like her shape.
Yeah.
And it's not clear whether she thinks she's fooling us into thinking it's her or not. It's not clear whether what the joke is, if there's a joke here. Maybe she thinks we're going to be convinced, like when you see someone's hands playing a piano and then you kind of get another shot and it's Harrison Ford, and you're like supposed to be convinced that Harrison Ford is playing the piano. Maybe she's going for that, and she genuinely thinks that we're fooled into thinking that, you know, we won't notice that we're not seeing her face while she's doing the nunchucks.
Yeah, yeah.
I genuinely don't know. Maybe she thinks that, or maybe she's in on the joke. And it could be either way. And if it's a joke, there are ways it could be done better. And if it's not a joke, there are ways it could be done better.
And then we get this weird cut, which appears to be back at her walloping the fat bloke. Speaking of fat bloke in a dress, walloping the fat bloke with her stiletto. Immediately after the nunchucks bit, she's now, I don't know, she's whacking something with her stiletto. But, what? I don't know. And she says, I could never pull this off. With the panache, the third mention of Atomic Blonde, with the panache that not even Charlize Theron.
Yeah, just Charlize.
She's name dropping now because she's a good bud of hers. She so wants to be Charlize Theron. With the panache that I could never pull this off. With the panache Charlize did in Atomic Blonde. You couldn't pull this off with the panache that Abbott and Costello did.
She, like 10 minutes ago in the film, she killed someone with a shoe.
Yeah. Why have we got this bit? What
she's like, this would be a terrible thing. I'd be an idiot for trying to use a shoe to kill someone in this film, because obviously I couldn't possibly do it as well as Charlize.
Yeah.
The thing I did just now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Earlier on in the film.
So shit.
Yeah. Anyway, but he gets back.
He turns up,
and it's dark now.
Because it
was fully daytime when he was at the taco restaurant, and now it is completely dark.
Yeah.
We'll find out in a minute that it's been 32 minutes. Since he left the restaurant. And
how long did the dance sequence work? How long is I'm so excited? 3 minutes and a bit. So he did that. He drove.
Yeah, because he'd just woken up at that point.
Yeah.
He drove to get tacos.
Yeah.
An hour.
Call that an hour
if there was traffic.
So an hour and 3 minutes. Yeah. She went to the gym.
She went to the gym. Came back. Called him.
Yeah.
And then
told him that he'd hit a coyote, gone to the vet, had a shower, maybe depending on what time you woke up, 9 o'clock maybe, because they slept in, because they've been on the drugs the night before.
Well, he was cooking breakfast when she got back. That's the thing. So he'd made pancakes or something.
Yeah,
for breakfast. So when she got back from the gym, it was at the latest, like 10, 11 o'clock,
mid-morning,
maybe.
Yeah.
He made it to the taco place definitely lunchtime at the most. They were eating. Chad and him
tacos.
Were eating.
Yes,
at the latest 12.
1 maybe. Yeah. 12:30. All right. Yeah.
32 minutes
and
back.
And he was 90 minutes back. 90 minutes. Yeah.
based on the CCTV earlier on, we know it's May.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
not going to get dark in LA till 5, 6
in May,
maybe.
Like LA, I mean, yeah, you're talking probably.
I'm talking UK
night,
time.
I would think at least.
Okay, right. Yeah. Right. Okay. Jesus Christ, that's a long 90 minutes.
It's a long, 32 minutes back from the restaurant. So yeah, that's weird. It's almost like they just wanted to film these next few scenes at night. And
maybe.
They thought no one will care, which is fair. Anyway, he's back. It's dark. And before he goes in and they have sex. She's just there in kind of red lingerie. We get another Footloose track here because we had Let's Hear It for the Boy earlier. Now we get Dancing in the Sheets.
Yeah.
And they have sex.
He says it's just the tip.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of going,
I mean,
okay, what's that for?
There wasn't any point at the time. It becomes pointed later.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's a funnier gag than the entire film. Yeah. So it's a weird fantasy bit. It turns out he's not having sex with her.
No.
Then he goes back in again.
Yeah. There's just kind of a daydream that he had while standing outside was that they would then have sex when he went in. But no, he goes in, looks around for her a bit. She comes out of the bedroom, having, again, 32 minutes before in between, and we've seen her go through the various ways that she might kill him and also list every film that ever had a gun in it. She now has like a robe and a face mask on, like a beauty mask thing.
Yeah.
So she did that pretty quick. And he has a knife that she's not sure why. Neither of them are quite sure why he has the knife, and they have a bit of a chat.
And I've got here more comic asides bants.
Yeah,
just got a bit of bantering going on. And I put, is this what passes for inter-character chemistry? And he, given that she wrote and starred and directed it, when he says she looks hideous, yeah, she's not gonna let that happen.
Yeah,
because she doesn't look hideous.
No, I mean it's
she's wearing an instant magic facial mask. Well, she's not. She's wearing like some sort of plastic thing,
like a gold PVC thing. That falls
and then he says,
off.
"You look hideous," and well, she doesn't because and then weirdly, she justifies the fact that she's got this hideous face mask on, which isn't, because she said to him, "You said you're going to be 90 minutes. Turns out it's only 32." So, A, why is it dark? B, why was it 32 when Waze said it would be 59? 59? Yeah. And then
also, he couldn't realistically have got from
Los Feliz
from the Chabelitas tacos to her house in 32 minutes. And
then there's some chat about they do that. Oh, did you come by the A127? Yes, there was a bit of traffic. Yeah. And then there's another bit. Did you bring my car back? Are you wearing my jewelry? Yes. And then they go, oh yeah, that looks good. Yeah, it should be totally be a thing. And you think, in other circumstances, in other hands, that might be quite cool. That there's this relief of tension. It's a bit like the bit in Stranger Things when they're happening upon the communist tunnel under the shopping mall, and they're barreling along, and then something goes wrong, and somebody says to each other, and there's a little bit of banter, and you kind of go, oh yeah, that's a bit of Shakespearean light relief in the relentless plunge towards tragedy. This is the moment where we kind of go, oh yeah, it's not too bad. We've still got each other.
It's pretty weird because some of this, like that moment where they're kind of, they have a bit of, as you say, release of tension instead of attacking each other. They're kind of having a meeting of the minds in a way. It is I was scrolling through Amazon Prime the other day, looking at kind of things that I might want to watch, and you know, you can choose to watch the trailer for things. Yeah. And clicked on a film that I hadn't heard of and watched the trailer, and instantly, I could tell from just the look of the film that it was not just an independent film, like not a Hollywood studio film or whatever, but a bit shit independent film. Yeah. Just because of the look of the film, the look of how it was shot, and I was thinking, because you know, we've made our own stuff and we shoot stuff from time to time, and thinking there are scenes even in this trailer, there are shots that have been set up and that are, you know, not bad depth of field, not terrible lighting. They just look nothing like a film, right? You know, a regular Hollywood film. If Ridley Scott was shooting this exact same framing of this shot, it would look different. And I was looking at it and trying to think, what is it about it? Because it doesn't look bad. It hasn't been shot on video. It hasn't, you know, some budget has been put into it. It just doesn't look the same. And in the same way with this, there are points in this film where it's hard to tell exactly what she's doing wrong. Because some of the stuff that she's doing is the kind of stuff they do in films. It's the kind of dialogue, it's the kind of joke, it's the kind of break in tone that a good film or a good writer might do. It just doesn't work. None of it works. None of it feels right or feels like it's funny or good or well made or well written or well shot or any of it. No, it all screams, this is awful. But if I mean, as you can tell from the last 3.5 hours of us talking, in many cases we can identify exactly what it is and why it's terrible. But there are other times where it's like, this feels like it should work. It feels like this isn't a terrible idea that she's had, and it isn't done appallingly badly. It just doesn't work. It really just doesn't feel like it should.
Exactly.
Like it feels...
I think you're right. It is about feel. It's just empty. It's all surface, and it makes you actually appreciate other films that are the same shape or that contain the same sequence of events on the surface, and the fact that somebody is speaking at this time and somebody else is speaking at that time, and there's face acting going on, and it makes you appreciate that there's something other than that going on below the surface in another film. I watched The Dig the other day. The kind of thing about it's got Ralph Fiennes in it, and it's about the discovery of the Sutton Hoo archaeological site in Suffolk in the 30s, just ahead of the Second World War, and it's beautifully shot, and it's as slow as you like, and it has voiceovers going on, so there's the sound of a conversation over what looks like another conversation going on, and it's filled with subtext. So there's visual metaphors, and there's oral metaphors, and there's face acting like you wouldn't believe going on, and it's just multi-threaded and multi-layered, and this film isn't any of those. There's not that every film needs to have a subtext, but every film has a subtext. Generally, because you're telling one story that's going on at the same time as the apparent surface story. And that sometimes is affected by a voiceover or pictures going on that subvert what's being said. But what she's just done here is gone, right, I need to have a voiceover over some pictures.
Yeah. I think part of it is that even on bad Hollywood films, of which there are many, pretty much all of the people involved, the writer, the director, the cinematographer, the camera operator, the set dresser, the gaffer, the props people, the editor, all of the people involved have talent. They all have experience. They've all learned their craft. They all know what they're doing. They all contribute to making it feel like a film. Contribute to the process of turning the script into something which looks and sounds good and delivers what they're trying to deliver, even when certain aspects of it don't come off well or don't work properly or haven't. Just it doesn't gel. All of the elements that are being put into it by professionals who are good at what they do and trying to make something good. This has been largely put together by amateurs, and even the people who she hired, like the editor and people like that, based on their IMDb stuff, from what I could tell, most of them are on their kind of first or second, third film. They've got a little bit of experience, but they're not professionals. They're not seasoned professionals in terms of doing what they do. So when you multiply that out, and there's little problems, little difficulties, scenes held too long, dialogue constantly cut on lines instead of in between lines, and it goes from headshot to headshot as each person is about to start talking.
And there's no reaction shots.
And the cinematography is basic journeyman stuff instead of anything interesting. And or everyone is just still learning their craft instead of proper people who've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
And I guess it just gets amplified when you multiply all those people together. That's what it feels like. It's just everyone's doing their best, but none of them quite know how to make it work.
Yeah.
And there's with her at the helm, there's no one conducting the orchestra of film to bring it all together into a cohesive.
It's kind of. It reminds me of our denigration of Ron Howard movies. That they
Yours, I'm perfectly fine with Ron Howard movies. I've got no problem.
No,
with Ron Howard. It's you alone.
No, he's not listening.
In case he's listening, I'm fine.
I'm fine. You're not fine.
I enjoyed Apollo 13. There are many good Ron Howard films.
Yeah, but at his worst, he's linear and pedestrian.
I mean, accusations that have been levelled at me, in critique of my directing.
Really?
Yeah. I've
wow.
A drama festival that were you in that one? Yeah, you were in that one. I think. The
one I got best supporting actor for
was that? No, that was.
See, I was a star. It was the other one.
Was it Last Bread Pudding?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one then. Yeah.
Wow.
The
look at that. I was a star trapped in a linear and pedestrian.
Said the direction was very, very. Well, I don't think he necessarily used pedestrian, but that was the implication of what he was talking about. I think was that there were no kind of risks taken with the. It was just what you'd expect from reading the script and then seeing it. There was nothing interesting about it. So yeah. I think there's room for that kind of direction. Personally, I think that's fine.
Well, yeah, certainly. So the combination of Dan Brown and Ron Howard, certainly,
people getting what they've come to see. That's fine.
What they come to see, exactly. Yeah, I want to see a straightforward rendering of the script.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've probably grown since then as a director, but
oh yeah, definitely,
it's a while ago.
Definitely, yeah.
Well,
you must have kind of be doing something. Well, no, it was all me because the only award we got for that production was me as best supporting actor. So trapped in a bad movie. That was it. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
Meanwhile, yeah.
So, so we get, oh God, then so what happens is he arrives, she's wearing the thing, she accuses him of being early. We then wait for the remainder of the 90 minutes she thought she'd have, even though she said, I thought you said 59. Anyway, so we get between the 32 minutes that he arrived in and the 59 minutes she thought she'd have, we get another 80s track and another outfit. And just to clarify that Tyler has worn only one outfit.
Yeah.
Throughout.
He's just got like a Hanes t-shirt, jeans, and a kind of yellow lumberjack shirt tied around
which you tie around your waist. Yeah. Which was kind of. Now, where did I see? I saw a documentary about that kind of style, where it was Nirvana. It's a Nirvana thing. Right. Where grunge took off and everybody raided their charity stores, their thrift shops for the outfits that Kurt Cobain wore, and that included buying a plaid lumberjack shirt, but not wearing it as a shirt, just tying it around your waist. That's it. So that's to just determine his class, I think. Although he does look good with her jewelry on, and then they talk about we zinged. Yeah, we zinged, and then she said, "Don't touch me," and he gets his hand stabbed. And then we get a massively expensive clip from Duran Duran's "Hungry Like a Wolf." Well, she does nothing in particular, probably with some Sabatier knives.
Yeah.
In order we're still on the choosing which weapon.
Yeah. So she stabs his hand with a martini glass, like breaks the glass and then shoves it into his hand. Yeah. But then, she goes away, plays with knives. When she comes back, he is holding an open bottle of red wine over her white sofa. Yeah,
couch,
yeah. They have an argument about whether it's called a sofa or a couch, which goes on far too long.
What? And then she says, didn't she say there, that's where she says, in plain sight, I'm a narcissistic serial killer.
Yeah.
At which point I'm thinking, does that mean you're an unskilf? Yeah.
And then she says,
and then
he 69 Lafitte.
For that. But that's where he says, "Oh, don't be." There's that kind of. Now here's an unexploited potential, an unmet potential for the script where she talks about herself as a narcissistic serial killer, and he says, "Oh no, don't be so hard on yourself." So you think, actually, that's quite clever.
Yeah,
that's in the. There was an episode of One Foot in the Grave when he'd died, but you didn't know that, and his wife is talking to him. He's in the scene. His wife is talking to him, and he's not there at all. So she's actually saying things without him being there. It's basically, I see dead people all the time. It's that kind of movie. And I filmed a comedy pilot that was done on the basis of complete misunderstandings, where it's shot in a restaurant and there's a guy on a date with a girl, and there's his advisor advising him via a radio mic. But she's
right?
Yeah, and she's talking to the waiter, so she's ordering her meal, and so the confusion is, the comedic value is that the things that she says to the waiter, he says to his date, and she gets confused, and it's an hilarious consequences ensue. And I was reminded of that when they did that bit, and you think, oh yeah, there you go. That's what you could have done. All of those voiceover bits could have been done real in sync with them, and you could have said those out loud to him. So you were actually declaring your psychopathology out loud to him, and he's being very caring and worrying about your self-esteem issues and taking them at face value, or not at face value, thinking that they are
thinking you're just being hard on yourself.
Yes, exactly, which would be much funnier. but no, it's kind of lost. So then they decide they sort of play hide and seek, and he says
she claims that the 69 Lafitte that he's threatening to pour on the couch sofa is a $50,000 bottle of wine.
Yeah, it's not, is it?
It's $1,000.
It's like, worth less than the bloody Mustang.
It's very much a kind of, it's one banana. What could it cost? $10. She knows, she doesn't know anything. So they kind of have this hide and seek thing. This is the point at which he then stumbles across the freezer full of dead bodies.
He weirdly says in that bit, it says, "I'm going to empty this bottle like a human fucking sprinkler." And you go, well, what? That's like a very weird thing to say. Why would you, what? So no, because that would be like if you inadvertently put your head through a hole in the floor.
Yeah, if you poured it into your face, into your mouth, and then sprayed it everywhere out of your mouth, that would be like a human sprinkler. Or
you popped your head up through the lawn as Caligula went by with a lawnmower. That would, that would be a human. Yeah, no. So. I've also got at 107:27, 16 frames. I'm so bored by this now.
Yeah.
He tries to flee in the car, even though she's still got the data on his robberies.
Yeah.
He tries to go in the car, in his car, his shit beige.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, Toyota. Yeah. But he finds the freezers.
He finds the freezer and says, "Did you feed me a bunch of dudes?" Which she did.
Yeah.
And then she hits him. She's decided on the weapon, and it's a curling iron. Which, fair, I don't think seen in any other films.
No, because probably not going to be very effective.
Stupid weapon.
Yeah.
And
there's a reason that they're not cliched weapons.
She
talk about like multiple
tries
things.
To strangle.
Yeah.
Him
also, how many meals has he eaten there? There's many. It seems to be.
Well, if you remember, there was the frat boy bouillabaisse or whatever, and the.
Oh yeah.
There was multiple dudes in one meal.
Right.
So she somehow kind of agrees to let him go at this point. But then changes outfit into a tennis uniform thing. And hits him with a tennis racket.
Yeah.
And then changes outfit again.
But also she says it was a backhand.
It wasn't.
It wasn't?
No.
No. She tries to, not only is she in with Charlize, but she's in with whoever, Raducanu. She kind of name drops like she's in with a tennis set, and incidentally that was a backhand, and it isn't. It's not. It's not. Ah, Jesus Christ! And then she drags him towards the freezer in yet another outfit.
Yeah.
And thankfully though, he does make a joke-shaped statement about it.
Yeah, he mentions the outfit. And then she kind of comes at him with a hedge trimmer, which I'm pretty sure wouldn't do anything. I don't think that's a dangerous.
You'd have to
get your finger like right in there.
Exactly, you'd have to get like a thin thing to get between the two blades. I don't think you could the frame and the blade
properly without specifically kind of positioning them.
You'd have to really lean on them quite hard, wouldn't you? You might be able to take an ear off or damage a lip, or as you say, a little finger. Don't know.
Yeah, and so he opens the freezer and throws dead body parts at her, like frozen body parts. Misses completely. Where he's shit at throwing dead body parts.
Yeah,
needs more practice. And when he points out that there's a pile of frozen dead people there, she says, and this is the clip from the intro. It's a pile of frozen dead bad people, which is exactly the wrong accent there.
Yeah.
What she means is, because he says it's a pile of frozen dead people. She should say it's a pile of frozen dead bad people.
Bad people.
Like she only kills bad people.
Yeah.
But she specifically says it's a pile of frozen dead bad people. Which is emphasizing the bit he already said.
Yeah.
And do another take.
Exactly. Exactly. Question the emphasis. So, I think actually, if that's going to be an echo of that line, this is what you wrote.
Yeah.
This is what you wrote. But I think we're not getting the true. No, it was fine. Yeah. It was fine. All right.
It's
all
like
right,
we wrote a line. Right. We wrote a line once where a guy, he in a film that we wrote, a man climbs out of a coffin in the hold of a plane, and a dog in a carrier barks.
Yeah.
And the line is, you'll have to stay in your box.
Yeah.
Because he just got out of a box.
Yeah, I've got out of his box.
But the dog has to stay in his box. And the actor could not get the emphasis right.
Yeah.
You'll have to stay in your box. And was like, every possible other way of saying the line he would try, but couldn't understand what... no matter how we described it, he was not getting the point of the line. But she wrote this. She wrote this and directed it.
And is saying it, so she knows the gag she's making.
Yeah.
That these are not just dead people.
They're not just dead people. Yeah, it's not just a pile of dead people. It's a pile of dead
bad people.
Bad people.
Not a pile of bad people. No, it's a pile of dead bad people. Right. No. It's not a pile
it's
of
not a pile of dead
people.
Bad. It's not a pile of dead people. It's a pile of dead bad people.
Dead bad people.
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. Yep.
And then, having thrown at least a whole person at her.
Yeah.
And this is a freezer, which we've seen into earlier in the film. We looked into the freezer when she was picking out this is a weird collection of words. When she was choosing a severed head to make out with earlier on. We saw inside the freezer, and it had less than a whole person in it. It had a few limbs, a head. That was basically it. And she served some of that up to him, and she hasn't killed anyone since, except the guy who is still in the Mustang.
Still in the Mustang.
He has thrown an entire dead frozen person, an entire dead bad person at her. And then, in questioning the killing and what's bad about it, what is bad about these people that she's killed, he asks, well, what did he do? And she says, well, that he was a homophobe. And this is repeated 27 times.
Whoa.
He points into the freezer and goes, well, what about him? What did he do? What about him? And she says these different things. He was a paedophile. He was a Republican. And then they kind of both look at the camera because her husband's a Republican. And all these things that she comes up with 27 times. Like there are more people. There's no one left in the freezer. The Republican joke doesn't land because she immediately follows it up. Apart from the fact that they gurn at the camera when it happens, the next person she says, "Oh, well, that is a Democrat. He's an independent." So it's meaningless.
Yeah.
And then she does a little PSA about not leaving animals in hot cars, which is weird.
Yeah. It's just a series of things that she doesn't like, ranted about, tacked together in a very expensive TikTok video. She could have done this so much quicker with a selfie on a phone as a series of TikToks. And
while she is talking to camera, he sneaks away.
Yeah, which is quite a good gag.
Yeah,
that kind of the old don't keep monologuing, which was used in The Incredibles. Don't just keep monologuing, just get on with it. Otherwise, everyone's going to escape. Yeah.
She picks up his phone and sees that he's had some emails or texts from a girl, gets jealous, and there's another costume change. She comes out with a battle axe now, and they fight. Yeah. They kind of punch each other a bit. I don't even know what happened, but she somehow ends up with like her legs in the air and he's between her legs. And she farts on him.
Yeah.
And I've written, fucking hell, is this Home Sweet Home Alone now?
Yeah.
Because, it's not like I felt the humour in this film was at any kind of high level. But I didn't realise it was quite this low.
That it was able to plunge.
Yeah.
Yes. From the somewhat questionable level. Yeah.
This character is supposed to be, according to her interviews that she's given to media since making the film, and like what she was talking about when this character, she's supposed to be a tribute to femme fatale in cinema. Right. I don't think any femme fatales have ever farted on someone before.
No.
I don't remember it happening in Basic Instinct. I don't think Linda Fiorentino has ever done it.
No. Lauren Bacall.
Yeah.
No.
It's not fatalic at all.
No. It's kind of, it's frat house stuff, isn't it? It's Ivan Reitman's early movies. Yeah, John Belushi, no problem. Saturday Night Live, what it is her interpretation of what Saturday Night Live humour would be. Oh yeah, that's all about farting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's oh Jesus.
So he then questions whether she's ever thought about the fact that she might go to jail for killing lots of people. And she says, well, that's not possible because, she's definitely not going to go to jail because she's too good and too efficient at what she does and she doesn't leave evidence. We've only seen her kill one person in this film.
Yeah.
And it was done in a public parking garage minutes after the end of a Peloton session.
Yeah.
In a garage where other people had clearly parked their cars and would be coming out any minute. And she just attacked a guy with a shoe who she then couldn't get into her car, and was there for some time trying to launch him into the boot of the car, presumably having to cut him up or something because she had a saw at one point.
Yeah,
there's enormous amounts of blood in that concrete floor garage.
Yeah,
no way has she efficiently removed all the evidence from that. She drove home covered in blood to the point where we saw her arrive home and she had to make up a story about a coyote. We saw, in fact, as she was driving away, blood on the back of the car from her trying to get the body in the boot. So this is bullshit.
Yeah. Have we had the call back yet to... So they do the fight bit. They stop for a water break.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, mildly amusing. And she eventually pulls a gun and he says, now you've hurt my feelings. And I thought, given the whole guns thing, he could have said, given all your inventiveness.
That's a bit cliche, isn't it? Yeah.
And everything you've got, that you're going to cliche me to death with a gun.
Yeah.
But no,
I've written in quite large letters. This is so fucking wordy. None of this dialogue matters.
Yes.
During
but
the
then
fight
we get a weird callback to it's just the tip.
Yeah.
When she plunges the scissors in his chest, and he breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah.
To draw attention to the fact that this was in his fantasy, and yet she's quoted it back to him, and then moreover says, "Whoever wrote this is a genius."
Yeah. So
that's words put into his mouth by the person that wrote it.
As we've said a few times, things done better by other people before.
Yeah.
This, I mean, breaking the fourth wall in general, but also the one character breaking the fourth wall and then another character kind of joining in and doing it. You cannot beat Fleabag.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
In the episode where the hot priest recognizes that she's looking away and looking at the audience and kind of he looks at the camera, that's a fucking, like, you have an emotional response to that. There's a thrill in him seeing something, and he's fine, and there's a meaning to it as well. There's a meaning within the story of the fact that she has been unable to connect to other people in the same way as she can connect to the viewer, and kind of tells the viewer her innermost thoughts and talks to us in the way that she isn't able to really have anyone else because her best friend died and all of that kind of stuff. And now this guy has connected with her on a level where he not only sees that she's doing it, but is also able to do the same thing, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Here,
that's what it means.
Yeah.
That's the meaning of that. Yeah.
But this is a shitty, kind of low-res copy of that, and it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have any of the emotional resonance. It just...
and all it's there for is to allow her to get somebody to say about her writing that she's a genius, when we know that she's written that because she's the writer.
Yeah.
So, and I put there, whoever wrote this is a genius. I put nope. Yeah.
So,
and that kind of meta awareness in your film is so on trend.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to have that. Yeah.
So yeah, she stabs him with a carving fork thing.
Yeah.
And he knocks the gun into the sink that she's holding, or something like that. And she goes away because I think she's cut her hand and she doesn't like the size of her own blood. She's not good at
her own blood. Yeah.
So she
so they have to stop.
Goes away. They stop the fight for a bit.
Yeah.
And
he
doesn't pick
outfit.
up the gun.
No.
He could do, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And she puts on party mode, which was the thing she did earlier on when she was being insane outside on her My Little Pony phone. To which he says, "Clever girl," which presumably is supposed to be a Jurassic Park reference. Don't know.
I think that's us reading stuff in.
Maybe. I may be being overgenerous.
Yeah. And then we get Our Heart's Take on Me, which must have cost an enormous amount.
Yeah. But, they've got all the money.
Yeah. There you go.
So,
and then we end up in what looks like the stash room from Free Guy.
It's the Batcave. It's the bit. It's not the Batcave. It's the room where Christian Bale meets Morgan Freeman in Batman, where they have the gadgets and stuff. But it's the big room with all the lights, lighted ceiling. Thing. But this has got lots of cars.
Done no miles in it. A bit like the Mustang, really.
And the music sting we get here is the theme from The Apprentice, which is called For the Love of Money.
Right.
So, bit of a nod to Trump there.
There you go. Yeah.
And then they have another sofa couch argument about Van Gogh or Van Gogh.
Yeah. And then we get a dance routine.
Yeah, this is fucking weird. They do the kind of tomato, potato thing.
Yeah.
And they start singing it. And then they have a dance break to a cover of Footloose.
Yeah.
This is not Kenny Loggins.
No, maybe that was just way too expensive.
I mean, could it possibly be? They've had Duran Duran, they've had Aha, they've had two Pointer Sisters, and several other Footloose songs. Surely Kenny Loggins isn't the straw that breaks the wallet's back.
Exactly, yes. Yeah. I mean, it's not Michael Jackson, not the Beatles, not Elvis, is it? No.
But they went for a cover of Footloose.
Perhaps he just went, "You're not fucking using my thing in your
probably
shit
actually.
movie."
Maybe it was just like, no, I saw that picture of you holding all the dollar bills. So they kind of have a weird. There's no point to this at all. They dance in the room with the cars. She throws the knife and it misses him and hits the door of a Lamborghini Aventador. Which she says is kind of maybe funny. He should have taken the hit. He should have stood in the way of the knife because it hit the door of the car and it's a $600,000 car. Yeah, it's not, by the way. Brand new Lambo Aventador is $394,000.
Yeah. Even one that's been dismantled and rebuilt.
No miles on it. It doesn't. It's not like there isn't a way you can make it cost $600,000.
No, not even putting it in this movie. Yeah.
In fact, that would drastically reduce the price.
Yeah. And then there's a bit where they have to stop because she gets a work call.
Yeah.
And he complains that he is being committed to the whole fight thing. Or whatever it is.
Yeah, he's upset that she stopped.
She's
fighting.
not committed. Yeah,
which again I've written could be funny in better hands. Yeah,
better hands. Movie fight scenes take two people after all, and actually that's the level of commitment complaint that we have, and we know full well that this would offend her, Linton, as well as Catherine. My note goes, ha ha! At that point, yeah. Oh God! And then we get, then I've got, oh fucking hell, more fourth wall monologuing knowledge.
Well, we get another list of film titles
of movies vis-a-vis chainsaws. So we have all of the movies that have had chainsaws in them,
except we don't by any means.
No, of course.
She says chainsaws been in every other horror movie ever made, and then only lists some of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. Not even all of them.
No.
And then she says, having listed some of them, this is the line, they really did make a hell of a tot lot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. Doesn't make any sense.
No.
But fuck it, I only do one take. I'm not doing another one, even though I said tot lot, which isn't a thing.
No. No, it sounds like a Trumpism, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hell of a tot lot. As I like to say, tippy tot lot. Yeah. Shit, they really did make a hell of a tot lot of Texas Chainsaw movies. Can we get some fresh ideas, please, Hollywood? Can we get some fresh ideas, please, Louise?
For example,
a
crossbow, which is her next and final.
Now that's different and refreshing. And my note is,
there's such a lot of crossbow movies.
Any movies starring, say, Errol Flynn recounting the tales of a wealth distribution tactics of forest-dwelling bandits in Nottingham during the reign of King John, perhaps?
Princess Bride, Mad Max Fury Road, Hunger Games, Ready or Not, Walking fucking Dead. One of the main characters, that is his weapon. I looked up crossbows on IMDb, since this is the way she does research. 901 films have crossbow in the kind of keywords of the film.
Wow.
So the idea that she would we can't use chainsaws because there are some films with chainsaw in the title.
Yeah.
Crossbows, completely original idea. No one's ever thought of that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And
So-
then they're out by the pool and the patio warmers, with crossbow, and he's holding a butter knife.
I mean,
something.
she says a bread knife. She says, "You've got a bread knife," but he hasn't. It's a butter
not.
knife.
It's
a bread knife
knife.
is a thing.
It's a
That's
it's
an
a knife
actual-
you use
yeah.
to spread butter
It has
on
a
bread.
the bread knife
for
has
sure.
a serrated edge. Would be
And it's quite a lot longer
potentially dangerous.
because you use it to saw up a loaf.
Yeah.
That's what you do. Whereas this thing literally would not go through butter.
No.
No, unless it was heated up by the patio heater. There you go.
But
And then she
says-
accidentally, what does he say?
He says sofa instead of couch, which is what
Yeah.
she wants to call it, sofa, and so she feels like, oh well, that's nice of you to say sofa,
Yeah,
because
You're-
that's
you're-
the right thing to call it.
you're seeing the right thing. And then accidentally lets loose a
Yeah.
crossbow
So she
bolt.
drops the crossbow and it goes off and hits him, or kind of doesn't really hit him, kind of grazes him. And then he says that he's in love with her,
Yeah,
and they kind of go to fight, but then it cuts to white, and and the fight's over already, and then they agree to get married, and then we get the callback, raise Rugrats, fuck like mink, raise Rugrats, and live happily ever after.
but there's a bit that said, "Fuck it, I'd do anything for you, apart from kiss him properly."
Yeah, she kisses
Obviously.
his top lip.
She they squash their faces together.
Yeah.
They don't kiss each other. So she presses her
she
face against his, or she tolerates him pressing his face against her.
She is married to Steve Mnuchin, so I mean,
Yeah, but
kissing presumably is fairly traumatic for her.
Right, yeah.
So
And she's kissing, that's not even his top lip. It's the space just below his nose
the feltrum.
and quite
Is
a
that what it's
long
called?
way
Something like
above
that.
his lip.
Yeah.
Yeah, the plectrum, feltrum. I know. It's just, and you think, okay, yeah. It's a bit like I suspect that she was worried about the Strictly Come Dancing or the Dancing with the Stars thing,
The curse.
whereby whoever you're acting with, whoever you're dancing with, you'll fall in love with and throw over your current beau for them and leave them for them.
Because
and if she
Mnuchin
did
is
that,
significantly richer than Ed Westwick.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. He's as handsome as they come. And if you actually just kiss him like all human beings do, then that would be it. She would just go, oh, fucking hell, what have I been missing all this time with my short, squat Nazi husband? And they go, oh, yeah, oh, no, yeah, that's right. It's the billions of dollars, so I can't possibly do that. So then we get cut to the thing. She's back at the therapist and she says, I need some drugs because I'm a killer. And we get a knowing look to the camera. Why do we get a knowing look to the camera? I don't know. Then we get more stuff in bed. And yes, they are doing stuff. So here's my notes. Okay, so just as Sandy in Greece is absolved of everything and sheds her individuality in the name of fitting and therefore becoming acceptable by dressing like a slut and getting an era-ignoring perm and hopping Travolta neatly over the 60s and straight into the 70s, where, of course, he can don a white suit, subsequently disappear and wait decades for Tarantino to restart his career. So Tyler goes back to school to rejoin the workforce, climb the corporate ladder like a fulfilled human.
So that he can finally turn into Patrick Bateman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And his and Catherine's chemically stabilised bliss is not ruined in any way by the authorities catching up to them.
No.
Which, unlike sofa, is not a correctly anglicised term. Catch up with them. She should say, if she's supposedly British.
I don't know.
What have they done with?
Well, when it's not clear whether she's supposed to be British, is it? So
no,
fair enough. But they have this kind of dual voiceover thing where they both talk about how their life is great now. They do.
Yeah.
They go to a spin class, and one of the people in the back row of the spin class.
He's the fat bloke.
The actor is a guy called Patrick Mahaney. I say actor.
Right.
He's a vet. He is a holistic vet who does pet acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine for
pets.
doggies and catties.
I don't think traditional Chinese medicine is traditionally for dogs and cats.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically, he's a rich LA grifter who presumably put some money into the film and therefore got a role.
Got a cameo
as a cyclist in the spin class.
Oh, is he the other fat bloke?
No, he's
too?
not a fat bloke. He's far too attractive to be the fat bloke.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So there is also
he's a grifting vet. Of course, he's attractive.
Another awkward fat cyclist who this time she doesn't kill,
doesn't murder.
She helps him with getting his foot on the pedal because fat people can't
do that.
Their own feet on the pedal.
Apart from the fact that he's actually not interested in looking at her at all, sufficient to rip his own shirt off.
Yeah. And she does a quick "be kind to each other" PSA. Then back at the architectural dream house, they are cooking something, and Yu arrives, and this time she can speak English.
Yeah,
magically.
Perfectly. Yeah. See, Michael. Yeah. See what have they done with the contents of the freezers now that they're vegan, as announced to their now perfectly English-speaking Chinese friend.
Well, one theory is that when they say, when she says what's for dinner and they say vegan, what they mean is this guy that we're eating is vegan. It's a vegan because he would definitely be on the list of people that keep keep the dogs in hot cars, Republicans, Democrats, vegans. Yeah. And then that's it. Then credits roll, and we get some pictures of them.
Oh God!
Enjoying
roll credits
life
to
together.
the Tim Thompson twins. Hold me now.
Yeah.
More budget.
Yeah.
More budget, and then we get puppies, kids. So basically, what we get is the montage in Home Sweet Home Alone again, with the Christmas tree, kids, puppies. And all I could think of was La La Land. It most definitely is not. That end sequence where they rerun the entirety of the movie with them how they were after they've split up and she's gone off with somebody else, and then they end up back at his jazz club, and then whilst he's listening to him playing the piano, she's rerunning what she's lived with her husband after she left him with him. We get that, and you go, oh my God. And it's like, it's the perfect family life montage, but it's filled with poignant ache because it's what they could have had and what they possibly should have had, but she hasn't had with him. She's had it with this other guy who's been a bit of a stand-in since they split up for reasons that have flummoxed them both.
Yeah, it's a kind of emotional gut punch in that film.
Yes.
Whereas in this one
it's like somebody taking their fingers and sticking them down the back of your throat. That's what it's
also
like.
In any film, whether it's a rom-com or a drama, where the through line is a couple getting together, which ultimately is what this is.
Yeah.
You want them to. You like them in some way.
Yeah.
These two are both awful people.
Yeah. I don't give a shit about them.
They are hateful people who we don't. Yeah, we would be perfectly happy for either one to kill the other. It wouldn't bother us at all.
In a cliched or otherwise way. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no emotional resolution or satisfaction.
No,
because
there's no demand for it. We don't need it.
We haven't been rooting for these kids to get together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when they do, it's kind of thinking, oh fuck, really? Yeah. And again, they kind of do the terrible bloody kissing thing. They look they don't look happy together.
Yeah.
At all. They don't look. It doesn't look right, and the poor bloody kids who get foisted upon them. Yeah.
And the thing is, if you bring it back to American Psycho, which is the supposedly the model for the film, albeit, this is a girl's version. Patrick Bateman doesn't get he doesn't get arrested in the end, much as he tries to. Yeah. But that is bad for him. He doesn't live happily ever after. Yeah. He doesn't find someone to be with. He finds that the world he is part of is so bereft of kind of emotion or consequence or
morals.
That even the terrible stuff he's done, he can't get
arrested for.
He can't face consequences for, and he has to deal with that himself, and still doesn't get any of the stuff he was hoping for earlier on in terms of kind of rising up the corporate ladder or any of that stuff. He's in a kind of purgatory by the end of the film. This is, it makes no sense to have this happy ending in this kind of film. You don't get serial killer films with happy endings, and it's not, and doing one isn't clever and interesting and new. It's stupid because there's a reason you don't get happy endings in serial killer films. Even Silence of the Lambs, where Hannibal Lecter is free at the end. Arguably, that's happy for him, but it's not. It's not played as a happy ending. It's not played as and it's all fine now. Whereas this absolutely is. This is played like a Jennifer Aniston film or something.
Yeah,
it's just
yeah. And so I've got a paragraph that's going in conclusion. So that funny in the list of films she often spouts in this film, there is not a list of self-directed vanity projects that are glossy flops. So I would add W.E. or really anything by Madonna, not necessarily with Madonna. Yeah. And is this a, with that kind of weird tacked on ending? I mean, is this a pastiche of these kind of movies? In which case, what kind of movies is it a pastiche of? Because you need to be really good at movies to be able to do that, and it needs
absolutely.
Not the Scary Movie has it.
No,
but you need a lightness of touch that this sledgehammer of a vanity project doesn't have.
Well, that's the thing. Even if you watch even the bad parody movies, I mean, most of the Wayans brothers output, but Not Another Teen Movie. Don't Be a Menace in South Central When You're Drinking Your Juice in the Hood. The 5 Scary Movie movies. All the parodies, let alone the good ones like Airplane.
Yeah.
The thing they do best, even the bad ones, is they pay a lot of attention to their source material. They know exactly what makes the originals tick and what the tropes are in them, and then they play those for laughs.
Yeah. There's kind of, it's Weird Al Yankovic, isn't it? I mean, that's what he does par excellence in a 3 minute song that you do in their movies.
If you're trying to parody something that is, something you've seen a couple of times and that's it, and you're like doing it from memory, that's what this comes off as, and that's why we said in the beginning, or I said at the start, is this is probably satire. It might be satire, but it's very unclear what it's satirizing or if she knows what it's satirizing.
Yeah. Because to do satire, you've got to be really knowing, and then you've got to kind of you've got to move far enough away from the thing that you're satirizing and do it really lightly. I mean, it's the kind of Monty Python in Life of Brian satirized nothing less than the basis of all religion. and did it, really quickly and very lightly with the gourd and the sandal. Well, there's the schisms in all religions right there. That's it. Done. 2 minutes.
And
done.
in there, they also did, the sword and sandal movies, the kind of Ten Commandments, all that kind of stuff. The stuff that had come before, and did it. In a way that showed the absurdities within those movies that those movies didn't show. And the same with Holy Grail, looking at the kind of King Arthur type films and those that period of medieval history films that focused on those kinds of knights' quests. All of the tropes from those films.
Even down to having the documentary presenter standing in front talking about it and then getting his head chopped off by a knight.
So you have to. They have to be loving parodies of things that are that everyone understands, that everyone gets the references, that everyone gets what makes that genre work, and what are the kind of repeating clauses that you always see in those films, and then that's played for some kind of laugh, and usually with a consistent tone, which this film doesn't have at any point.
Doesn't have,
it doesn't seem reverential, respectful, interested in a specific form of film.
No, because it doesn't follow through on the notion that it's the credit sequence when they just kind of give it all up and go, love conquers all. I mean, is that it? Is that the moral? What, is it? I don't know what the moral is, but it's not. It doesn't even question the moral at the end of American Psycho, and the moral at the end of American Psycho is that the entirety of American society is so corrupt that the most corrupt. It's a bit like Clockwork Orange. The most corrupted individual ends up being a hero, even if they try to get arrested. Can't do it. And
even if they'd ended with them together, but having the kind of relationship that Clouseau and Kato have in the Pink Panther films, where they're together, but they're constantly fighting and attacking physically attacking each other.
The madness, yes, because
that would have been more entertaining.
It would have fitted the bit that she flagged the title of the film, and actually that gets put up again. There's a board with a quotation that includes that, and you think, that actually, my thought was, not only do they not have the lightness of touch, but they're using a sledgehammer, but actually they don't even know which shopping mall has the right store that sells sledgehammers. So they're so off. They don't even know where the sledgehammer is.
Yeah, instead of using a sledgehammer to crack a nut, they're using a curling iron to crack a nut, which is ineffective. It's completely the wrong tool to use.
Not calling a butter knife a bread knife. So. But I just want to remind you of the production company, Storm Chaser. Their mantra is founded in 2012. Storm Chaser Films is a female-driven company focused on the acquisition, development, financing, and production of film and TV. We strive to preserve and celebrate the tradition of story-centric filmmaking while harnessing emerging technologies to produce films that are both form of art and tell what the fuck is form of art hyphenated, and tell stories of empowerment and significance that inspire enlighten, and entertain.
Wow. Mission very much fucking statement. Not accomplished.
Yes, exactly. And then also, my other notes, just because you've seen a lot of movies, or tell us that you have, in such a shit way that actually we're not convinced at all, doesn't make you Tarantino. And also that this movie is proof that you can try to be funny and still produce something that turns out to be a joke. And she will ever epitomise the Trump administration's intellectual vacuity and narcissism. There you go.
Yeah.
So, folks, if you think differently, please let us know.
Oh, absolutely.
It'd be interesting
if you love
to hear.
This film.
Yeah. Tell us why, and we will refer you for treatment. Yeah.
Well done for sticking with us through all of that stuff.
And you're welcome. And
we're
sorry.
Welcome and we're sorry. That's that's the best response to that.
Yeah. But so if you enjoyed that, if you endured that, if you got to this far, and you're interested in this kind of thing, and it made you laugh, and you wiled away a fruitful
I tell you what,
so.
I wonder if it made people do. I wonder if it made people either think, where can I find this film? I want to watch this film.
Right.
Because that's possible.
In which case we apologise.
We can't recommend that. But
no.
But I can recommend finding the trailer on YouTube because it kind of tells you everything you need to know. It
gives you the flavour. Yes. Yeah. No, do that, because then there's a sort of visual equivalent of all of the Me You madness that's gone on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it's inspired you to wonder what we think of other films.
Yes.
Or other media.
Yes.
Be they books or YouTube channels. Or documentaries by prominent right-wing conservative figures, for example.
Yeah.
Then I can think of no better place for you to go than our Patreon.
Absolutely.
At patreon.com/ftrump, because there's a shit ton of that kind of stuff.
A realm, a wealth.
Just waiting for you.
A vista laid out in front of you, and it's all broken down neatly into containers that are self-explanatory, which talk about stuff we've talked about. Plus, you get expanded episodes of the usual
that's
Trump
true.
stuff.
You can use your time very wisely by going back and listening to the last, let's say, 40 episodes of the podcast to hear our extended thoughts at the end about random topics or
deep and meaningful questions. Existential crisis-based questions and stuff about filling up buildings with water.
Or whether Al Pacino or Robert De Niro was hotter.
Oh, definitely. Definitely Al Pacino.
Obviously Al Pacino, yeah.
Yeah. Though you say that.
I mean, we had a debate about it.
We talked about that at length. I did ask a significant other person in my existence the question that we asked in the last episode of Fallacious Trump, the 163, about, what if you could fill a building up with water, which building would you choose? And they said unto me, well, what's the point of that question? So if I know, rather than just join in the game or see that it is an important question,
knowledge for knowledge's sake.
There you go. Then you would love this kind of stuff. So don't this as a New Year's resolution.
You know how MGM has the Ars Gratia Artis, art for the sake of art.
Yes,
that's basically what the last half hour of our Patreon special edition episode of Fallacious Trump is.
Yeah.
It is whatever the
Latin for knowledge
is, Gratia, whatever the Latin for knowledge is in that correct declension.
Yes.
Yeah.
For its own sake.
I feel like a little bit of research could have made that snappier.
But then it kind of reveals the sort of organic nature of the content that's available. So yes, as a New Year's resolution, I think you should take it upon yourself to think, blimey, this is amazing, this stuff that they've done other than the main show. I'm going to participate in that. And you can do that simply by making a monthly donation, and it will be monthly from the 20th. And you get access to zads of stuff.
Zads, yeah.
Zads.
It is. I mean, multiple Zads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zads to the power of possibly even Z. Yes. Yeah. And all of that is available to you for the piffling sum that enables you to become a patron. And we will love you forever. And you might think well of us too. We hope. We'll see. Yeah. Yeah. So great. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed that free gift. And, you know, it's obviously it's a cynical money-making exercise whereby we tempt you with this. We tempt you with this stuff to get you to go, bloody hell, that's great. I'm going to get some more of that. Well, you can. And you can go and listen to our breakdown of other movies that we watch so that you don't have to.
Yeah.
Again, you're welcome.
And we're sorry.
And we're sorry. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.